If you have been following the Voltron Watch channel for a while, you know I can't leave well enough alone. I have to modify or make it better in some way. And in this episode, we're gonna go over this bike in front of me right now. This is the Roadrunner version 2 from Voro Motors. And as I progress in the building and the modification of this bike, I'm gonna document that for you guys in a specific playlist for this bike. So in this episode, what we are going to cover is the bike in the stock form. And from there, I will have subsequent episodes coming out that are going to go over the modifications that I do on this bike, to start with the forks, the brakes, the hubs, the batteries, the controllers, the motors, the whole thing. So if you guys are interested in upgrading your pocket bike, your Razor, your electric mini bike, stay tuned, give the show a follow, and let's get into it. All right, guys, so when I'm reviewing a bike for you guys, I like to get on the ground level with you and we can go over this stuff together. Typically, I start in the front and I work my way back. On this bike, this is gonna be no different. On this particular bike, they come with a 14-inch wheel. So it's a 14-inch wheel in the front, a 14-inch wheel in the back. It's got front suspension. It's adjustable on this right side here. There's no suspension in the rear, so keep that in mind. The brakes, the discs are 180 millimeter discs with cable calipers, okay? So there's, instead of hydraulic, it's just going to be cables. Easy upgrade if you guys want to upgrade your brakes to a mountain bike specific hydraulic brake. There is all kinds of upgrade options for that. One thing I really like about these bikes is I love the integrated frame with the wires. It's clean, it keeps the outside clean, and I like things nice and tidy. I like that the wires are ran through the frame. And while we're on the front here, here's an onboard computer. The data you're gonna get from here is gonna show you how much battery you have left via a icon with 4 bars. It's gonna show you 25, 50, 75, 100% on your battery. It's gonna show you your speed, and it's gonna show you how far you've gone. From here also, you can turn it on and turn it off, the bike itself, and then you can select your modes. There's 3 modes, 3 being the most powerful. Over here we have a horn, which works fine for city commuting and things like that. It's got a button for your headlight and your tail light, and it also has a blinker indicator for your left and your right side if you guys are in traffic and you need to signal from the rear. The other thing on the front of the bike that's worth mentioning, if you guys are putting these bikes in the back of your cars, or you're taking them from place to place, or maybe you just need to get it to be more compact, these handlebars fold down in under 5 seconds. You can take the handlebars, they fold up down, you can put it in your car, you can store the bike in your closet. It just makes the bike a little bit more compact for people that maybe live in the city or are putting the bike in their car and going somewhere else with it. Very convenient. On the right side of the bar, it has the R and the I, and this is where you select what motor you want to use while you're riding. So R is going to be your rear only. I is going to be both motors, front and rear. It's worth mentioning that the bike has a 500 watt rear and a 300 watt front. And the difference is pretty significant when you're using both motors as far as the power goes. But one thing to keep in mind, if you are going to be using both motors, you're going to drain your battery a little bit faster. So if you have a little bit farther to go, keep that in mind and maybe just do one motor to sip on that battery for a little bit longer and extend your range. Another super cool thing about this bike is the battery. It's removable. You just have a key right here. You put your key in, turn the key, pull the battery out. And this is convenient if you're going to be loading or unloading your bike in the back of your car. Maybe you're taking it up some stairs. You can just take the battery out and you can carry it like a suitcase. Or if you live in a cold weather climate and you're not riding your bike in the winter, but you want to keep your battery warm at room temperature, you can store your battery in the house pretty easy without having to take up space with the whole bike in your house. The other bonus to having such an accessible battery is if you have 2 of these, you can easily swap these out and double your range if you have another battery. Take out the discharged one, take it in the house, charge it, throw your other one in, and you got a whole another 40 or 50 miles of riding. And then moving on to the back of the bike, y'all, the tail light, I think looks fantastic. And when it's integrated with the seat and the frame, I like the way that it looks. It's functional, it's visible. 2 things that are really important in a rear lamp. But anyway, let's get the GoPro on. Let's go get some speed tests. Let's see how the bike does in traffic, and let's check out our range. Stick with me. These bikes aren't really that popular on the modification side in the United States yet. And my goal is to bring to the forefront what these bikes are capable of and the modification scene that's available, and build the community around these small bikes. Kind of like what started and what's happening in the modified razor scene right now. I really do like this bike though, even in its stock form. The power difference between 1 motor and 2 is huge. 500 watts in the back, 300 in the front. Stock motor, stock battery, 48 volt battery, 26 amp hours. So the plan for this bike, guys, this is going to get a dual 5,000 watt hub motor setup. So it's going to have 5,000 watts in the back, 5,000 in the front. I'm still contemplating on putting a Sur-On battery in here at 60 volts, or I have a 72 volt 40 amp hour battery I might put in here. We'll see. So just so you guys know, it's super easy to upgrade the brakes on these. The brakes on this is probably the biggest downfall of the whole bike. And kind of like my first impressions of riding this bike with my back, my ass, they're one of the most, that's one of the first and only things I care about as far as comfort goes. I can carry, my knees are fine, but my back on this bike is not so bad. The seat's pretty comfortable, to be honest with you. The rider's triangle is pretty good too for an adult. I mean, it's designed around for adults, so. And I would give the seat comfort on this bike about a 6.5 out of 10. It's good and wide, it's got good foam. Maybe my ass is just feeling the beating of the tires because there's no rear suspension, which in this case, I know how that ride's gonna be. It's a rigid frame, which for this platform, I prefer, and the modifications I'm going to do, I prefer. And aesthetically, I like the way the hardtail looks as opposed to the bike like this with the rear shocks. I don't think these people know that I have the right of way on the crosswalk, but they're gonna just keep going. All right, y'all, so that's it for me. On this episode, we went about 9 miles on this bike, and it didn't even knock a bar off the battery indicator. Stay tuned for future episodes, like I mentioned before, where I upgrade the forks, the motor, the battery, the controller. At the end of the day, we're gonna get this bike up to about 55, 60, maybe 65 miles an hour. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, stay tuned, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps the channel tremendously. Thanks, guys. Bye.